You know, you've made it when you have only one name. You don't even need a last name. It's like Rihanna. It's like Madonna. It's just one name. When you say Natalie.
And that name's so common.
I have 4 Natalies in my phone.
But how you if you're calling me?
Well.
Because I feel like.
Check 1 2 1 3. Yes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you are. This is gonna be one of those conversations that's gonna be epic. If you don't know, now you know. I have the amazing, the one, the only, the businesswoman, the entertainer, the promoter, the social media savant, the provocateur. Yeah, it's a lot of titles this woman carry, and it's always a pleasure when I have her in the building to have a conversation, because you guys know we don't do interviews around here, we have conversations. So, without any further delay, I'm gonna bring into the building the one, the only. You know, you've made it when you have only one name. You don't even need a last name. It's like Rihanna. It's like Madonna. It's just one name. When you say Natalie.
And that name's so common.
I have 4 Natalies in my phone.
But how you if you're calling me?
Well.
Because I feel like you text me a wrong text before, you know.
Correct.
I believe you did.
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right. So, and I warn you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I have Natalie.
Okay.
Who's a boss of mine.
Okay.
I have a Natalie who is what's the right word? Yeah, the partner of one of the guys on GMGT.
Okay.
I have a Natalie. I don't even know how I know that Natalie. The third one I don't know.
You need to put some tags next to those Natalies.
Yeah. I need to. So, welcome back.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Same to you.
Did I miss a birthday?
Valentine. Yes,
Valentine.
you missed my birthday.
Oh
my
my
birthday.
God, happy birthday.
My birthday was January 3rd.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's.
Oh yeah.
Happy Trinity Carnival.
This is your second Valentine since you got married?
You're getting me in trouble here. No, we'll hold on. I think so. Yes.
So, does Valentine's hit different when you marry? No? Okay.
It depends on who you're with. So in my situation, I don't know. I've never been in relationships where the men they always feel like it's every day. Valentine's is every day. So, so I've never really had a crazy wow, like somebody went and get 200 roses or anything like that. What I would say with my husband is, because he's kind of predictable sometimes, is like regardless of where we are, like we were in Grenada, we spent Valentine's in Grenada.
I saw that. How was that trip?
I loved it, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to just stay one time. But what I will say, he's predictable. So regardless of where we are, even though he's not like a Valentine's person, he will find somewhere where he could pick up some flowers.
Oh, nice.
I think he get them flowers in real value across the street from Grandad's, right?
So I need to get some pointers from Davis.
I never say that, because the blind is the blind. I don't know how that's go. So all I said is I will give him that he does, regardless of where we are, even though he's not a Valentine's person, he will still... I tell you, it's real value. I think them flowers come from. Real value, right? The supermarket across, right? So, at the end of the day, I think it just shows the thought that counts,
Nice.
And Valentine's should be every day. We should be, not every day, but... But you know what I mean? In other words, we should get treated nicely on other days outside of noted days.
I agree.
Okay, all right.
I 100% agree.
How was your Valentine's? Okay, all right. Okay. Next, okay.
So, since the last time you've been here, obviously a lot has happened.
Woo. So much.
Talk to me about the state of Natalie, not the person, but the business.
The business. So much. I think I can't remember when I was here. Obviously, sometime last year. We ended 2023 with New Year's. We were at a new venue.
Right.
black and white theme.
Saw some pictures, look
it was
awesome.
immaculate. It was like, I love doing Chic. Chic is becoming like, I mean, Shush is my baby, but Chic is becoming like the stepchild baby that, you know. But anyway, it was great. This year, 2024 is like a big year for me because for those who don't know, like, this is 15 years we're doing Shush. It's actually 16, but because of COVID,
right,
it's 15. And I think just in anything, whether it's relationships, jobs, anything, just to be able to celebrate 15 years of anything, it's like, God is good, right?
All the time.
And I decided, like, I'm going big this year. Go big or go home. I mean, I always try to go big, but I just feel, I think after the last couple of years that we've had, I just have a different sense of appreciation for just things overall. I don't take things for granted, which includes the business, the patrons, you know, the vendors, the workers, all the people who take their time to contribute. So most of the people I'm working with, I've been working with them for a long time. So, you know, it's just like in your business, they want to see growth too. Yeah. They don't want to feel like we do the same thing, stagnant. So this year it's 15 years and we're celebrating this year differently. We're doing 2 days instead of one.
I saw that.
Crazy me.
And there's a combo ticket out there for people who are interested. Mm-hmm.
We're doing the Memorial Saturday and we're doing the Monday. And then I decided to...
What was the inspiration to doing that?
I feel like Memorial Day was starting to lose its touch, right? Like, you know, the vibe. Mm-hmm. And I had tried doing the 2-day thing. I think when we came out of COVID, we were doing Shush Picnic. Right. And the tickets were really selling. And then, I don't know if you would remember that year after COVID when we finally opened up, Memorial Day rained all weekend, with the exception of just the Monday.
The evening is when
because you know there's a shush guard, right?
Yeah.
There's a shush guard, right? And I said I always wanted to do this, but I believe Shush is such a movement, and I don't feel like I have moved it the way it should have been moving.
Right.
Maybe because, you know, sometimes you just get comfortable and you're okay, but you know, I always like to challenge myself. But I think this was the perfect year because I think you always have to know when to make a move, right? You don't want to make it too fast. You don't want to wait too long. Mm-hmm. And I think being able to celebrate 15 years, I just feel like our New York, just like Labor Day, need to get shaken up a little bit. You know, I know there are other carnivals like Atlanta and Orlando, and there are people that head out, but a lot of people still stay here. Yeah. But they don't feel like they have, I mean, and don't get me wrong, there are boat rides, there are events, but times are just different. People are not spending their money anywhere. People want to come out. You know, I tell people all that. We West Indians will always want to knock bottle, like we say.
We'll always try to find the
We always want to knock bottle, no matter if we're taking our last dollar to do it, right?
Yep.
Because that's the kind of people we are, right? We are happy people. So I just feel like people are more conscious about how they spend their money and what they get in, you know, value. And I think for me, it's important to be able to deliver that. So I just felt like, you know what, I'm going to try this. And to be honest, I'm actually surprised, like, the combo tickets are selling. Like, people are getting tickets for both. I mean, I'm not saying that it might have 3,000 people there on Saturday and 3,000 on Monday or however the numbers go. But you know, if I could get comfortable numbers, which I believe I would, you know, I could create something where, look, people have something to do and something that is worth their time, and they could say, you know what, I dressed up nice and I had a good time.
So I feel like the things you just touched on, that we can segue in so many different directions, but let's get to value first. Value. As someone, I think I'm very price sensitive. Right.
As a patron, you mean?
As a patron,
okay.
Yeah, I'm very price sensitive. I feel like the direction I see prices is going, I don't like to discriminate against. You set your value on how much you believe your event is worth. But there needs to be somewhere in the middle where my perception of your value intersects. Otherwise, we have this wide gulf. And for me, it's been getting that way.
I mean, everybody keeps... Okay, let's be clear. Let's just put it out there that, yes, we know since COVID, things gone up.
Right.
We know that, right? And that just should not be an excuse for people. Right? But yes, things have gone up since COVID, right? However, my thing is, part of being I want to say like a business owner, when you're selling a product, right? I think it's important that as a business owner, when you go into business, you understand it's not just about you, right? Because if you're just going in with it like, you know what, it's about me, I want to make money and that's it, that's not doing good business, right? You have to find a middle ground that works for you and the customer, or else you will have no business, right? There's some things that we can't control, right? But I would say like you have to pick your poison. So all promoters are different, as you know, and there's so many of them right now. I mean, everybody's a promoter, dog, cat, rat, horse, and, everybody's a promoter. But I just feel like you have the people who just hustling. You have the people, there are many other people that put the thought into what it is they're doing. You have people who try and they might cut corners or whatever. It just depends on what that person trying to deliver and what it is you're exactly in the business for. Me, I'm about brand building and I'm about, I want to say leaving a legacy, right? Because all my businesses tie in together, right? So in other words, I have the restaurant and I'm about to open another restaurant. And so I can't really, and this is just a personal thing, like there's no room for me to deliver half-ass stuff, right? Did I say ass?
You could say that.
Okay, because I was about to say if I could say shit, right?
Well, but we'll edit it in post.
Okay, you'll edit it, right? So, but I don't have that leeway, right? Whereas another promoter who may not have a brick and mortar business, they could get away with things that I may not be able to get away with, right? So, what works for Tom is not going to work for Harry and so forth. But I just feel like for me, and even any restaurant, and listen, you're not going to please everybody. Let me just say, you're not going to please everybody. And I understand that. Took me a long time to realize that. But I just feel like, look, I can have a million events, and I don't expect everybody to catch the same vibe at each event. Sometimes I have events, they whine in from the minute they come inside. Then I have events, it takes them a while to whine, and so forth and so forth. But for me, it is important for me that when people leave my events, right, and they wake up the next morning, they could say, you know what, that was a good $100 I spent. That was a good $50 I spent. That was a good $60 I spent. I got this, I got that. And again, you can't please everybody, right? But
one of the things I've been doing lately is when I hear of an event, you have become you compared my things to people think. I was like, okay, you want me to pay $50 to go to that, but this is what $50 will get me at Natalie's event.
Because I think I have conformed all my events to all-inclusive, right? And that's not what a lot of people do. People are still, I get calls all the time, Natalie, how does that work for you? Blah, blah, blah. I don't get any sponsors. Let us be clear.
No sponsors.
There's no sponsors. So not one.
This is an opportunity for if a big sponsor is listening out there. She is doing it without any sponsors. I don't get any sponsors, right? Opportunity.
And so everything that is there is paid for out of pocket, that comes out to the budget, as opposed to when you go to the islands. It's different, right? So, and they charge more for their all-inclusives and they get sponsors, right? But so many people call me all the time like, Natalie, how does that work for you? I want to try it, but, they're scared. They always have a conception that people will bust the bar per se, right? But you see, people don't understand business is always down to a system. Any type of business you do, whether it's garbage collecting or anything, is down to a system. And the way I compare it is this, right? People go into business and they say, I'm going to give you a little lesson here, right? So people will say, okay, I'm going to have a party. I'm going to have 500 people, $20 a ticket, that's 10 grand. And if keyword, and if there's real spend, I go make real money at the bar, right? The keyword is if they spend. So what people don't realize is when you do a regular party and there's a cash bar, yes, you guarantee your money you sell if you sell the amount of tickets you do. But then you are now hoping that the people that come to the party spend the way that you would want them to spend. So some people tell themselves, okay, if I have 500 people in a party and everybody spend $50, I guarantee this. But a man wouldn't spend $50, but the next man will spend $250, and they start to do all kind of maths in their head. But you see that word if? What if means is you're really not guaranteed.
And you don't have control. And you
don't have control. The way how your bar moves in any event, there's a lot of factors that goes with it. If the vibe is there, if it raining, if it not raining, if it too hot, if it this, whatever it is, if the line's too long. There's so many factors that affect the way people spend on a given day.
Right.
So if you are banking on 500 people spending $50 at the bar, you will be very disappointed many a times, right? Whereas when I do an all-inclusive, if I say, okay, X amount of people, I want my ticket cost to be, let's say, $65, but my ticket is actually $125, for example.
Right.
I factor in the 65 into the 125. And what do I do with the rest of the money? It's called guaranteed money at the bar,
right.
which means that everybody who bought a ticket cover the cost to get into the event,
right.
which covers a certain element of cost,
right.
and the rest of the money, meaning it's technically bar money. The
right.
only difference is I collected it already
in advance.
So where it gets a little more better now, the reality of it is when I go out, I drink water.
Right.
Even if I go to the biggest all-inclusive ever in Trinidad, I eat, but I drink water.
A lot of people don't drink as much alcohol.
A lot of people don't drink as much as you think. A lot of women don't drink as much. Even men. Not people drink as much as you do. So what you're doing is guaranteeing yourself the funds, whether they drink or not. It's your job now to make sure you provide the necessary stuff. Right. And after a while, you get accustomed and you get a good gauge. I mean, once in a while, maybe they might come and drink more Henny than Johnny, right? But at the end of the day, for me, when I do events, I provide so many different things at times.
Another thing about big events too, people, I think I can throw something in, is that the average cost per person decreases the more people comes into the fit.
Right.
So,
but I'm telling you that for me, I don't feel people, and even I could have 1,000,001 bars in the party.
Yeah.
The New York climate still wants to purchase a bottle. And I see they're doing it now in Trinidad as well. It wasn't like that before. You go to the all-inclusive and you'll go to the bar 1,000,000 times without a complaint. But for some reason here, it's like, I don't want to go to the bar. I just want to have my stuff.
Right.
So you find that people will pay their money. They still have the access to go to the bar.
Right.
And if they feel to buy a bottle, they have a bottle. There's no rule that I tell people they have to buy a bottle. That's just a personal choice.
Right.
But in business, even though it's parties or events, it still comes down to the system.
Right.
And I think once you get the systems in place, right, then you will find yourself, getting the financial result that you want to get. Because a lot of times we just be spending top in mud. Some people you're doing the work and you're not seeing the reward, or you're not, and don't get me wrong, not all the time you see the reward you want, but you still have to have a system. And it's something that I had to hold myself accountable, because back in the days I used to be like, well, it's my money, and I didn't have a budget, and I just used to spend, and I want this and that, and chandelier coming down from the ceiling, and just spend, and then at the end of the party, I'm scratching my head like, well, the party was really good, right?
Yeah, but
and I know the money coming, but where is it? So I now had to kind of check myself, right? I had to check myself and do budgets and stick to the budget, and and even now I'll even go as far as checking myself. I actually had to start hiring people to check me, because sometimes it's be so much going on, right? And sometimes it's good to hire people who do this for a living, and deal with numbers, who have to check you and hold you by the collar and say, hey.
They're not as emotionally invested in it as you. So So I noticed you just dropped a little line so casually.
Which line?
Second restaurant. Talk to me about that.
So we're opening a pizza shop.
Okay.
Right? So I don't know if you saw this before. So last year, my son's birthday is in June. He turned 10. And instead of spending the money on the parties, because here's the thing, I was always, I want to have a big party for him. Yeah. And by the time I do the party and I pay the high-end decorators, right? And the high-end event spaces all those things, I'll be like, I think I spent $12,000 on this party. So I kept asking him, because now he's growing out of stuff, and I kept saying, Sebastian, what do you want? And he's like, I don't know. Just give me some Robux. Just give me, I'll be like... And I just decided, you know what? And I decided I've been thinking about it, and he loves pizza, so I'm going to gift him a pizza shop. So we went and we found a space, right? We found a space we got a 10-year lease.
Nice.
And the same money that we would have invested for the party, we paid and secured the lease.
Right.
So it's under construction. It's been under construction. You know, I mean, I wanted it open a little bit earlier, but if anybody knows how construction works, things happen. And, you know, so I believe things happen when it's supposed to happen. So it's no stress. But basically, it's called Sebastian Spices and Slices. Spices and Slices. And it's a Caribbean pizza shop. It's going to sell personal pizzas, slices, and we have some other little tricks up our sleeve. It's a takeout spot.
Okay.
And it's in a great location. It's on Nostrand and Avenue D, which is a great location. But the objective really is my son sees us working all the time. So I work for myself. His stepdad works for himself. His dad works for himself. That's all he knows, right? So, you know, when you work for yourself, of course, you lose out on certain things like with time and stuff with your child. So that's why, like, I try to have him attached to my hip as much as I could. But I need him to kind of understand what kind of goes in, because sometimes he thinks things go easy. It's as simple. So, you know, when it comes to the shop, I keep him involved. What are the colors you want to use? What are the colors of the logo you want? You know, we're going to put this here. Do you like this mural? Do you like this? Do you like these lights? You know, I even get him involved in when the contractors say it's $5,000 to put on this. I'll be like, you hear that? The only problem is I'm trying to get him to understand what 5,000 really means, right? Because, you know, at that age, they don't have the concept. They don't really have the concept. But I try to involve him in everything. But the real objective is if I secure a 10-year lease, my son is 10, right? In 6 years, he's going to be 16. I'm able to add him to the lease. I'm able to add him to the corporation. So at 16, he'll be able to be a part of a corporation. And by the time 2 years later, at 18, if he wants to do something else, he can go to the bank and say, hey,
this is what
I have this. I've been in business for how much years? And, you know, I just feel like we don't know where our children are going to take us. So we have to start creating platforms for them.
I wish we, like, our community thought more like this, right? And I know every parent wouldn't be able to say, hey, here's a pizza shop. But in terms of, like, more, like, foundational things that can help them in the future.
Yeah, I just feel like
I've seen that a lot
different.
In the Jewish community.
In a lot of the other communities, I
see that all the time.
We need to, like you said, the key word is, here's the thing, right? When I was growing up, I believe that my parents provided the best that they could.
Right.
That's what I could see. It may not be the same thing that I could give Sebastian, but I do know they did the best. My mother did the best that she could do, right? So I could live comfortable with that. I need my son to know that within my means, I'm going to do the best that I could do. However, I still have to bring him down to earth sometimes, you know, because we still have to do, like, we did his Christmas party. We did Shush Kids.
Yeah, I saw that
for Christmas. And, you know, it's not always about receiving. You have to be able to give and stuff like that, right? But I feel like in our community, it doesn't have to be stuff like this. Even if it's teaching your children a trade or getting them involved in certain things, I feel like we need to do that a lot more.
We need to do that a lot more. I fully agree with that.
You know, everybody's child is not going to go to college. You could do whatever it is you want. If you know by now, we don't have control over these little adults, right? So you could have all the plans in the world for them. The best that we could do is try to provide what we can provide to the best of our ability and get to know your child and understand. And kind of, if he going left, you got to go left with him. And if left is not the way to go, you got to pull him back right real quick. So
is he going to decide what goes on the menu?
So yes, we are working on it, even though we bump heads at times because he'd be like, Mom, just make sure you have a pepperoni, because my child is American, right? Mom, make sure there's, whatever you do, just make sure there's a pepperoni pizza. And I'm like, he's like, you know, because you just like to put oxtail on everything, right? And you like to put this and you like to jig this and everything. And I'm like, you know, but he's getting better. And like, like when we were in Grenada for 2, we were there for like 17 days after, actually. And I took him with me. So it's like, I want him to see what, you know, Caribbean life is, because, you know, he's American, you know, and as much as he's around America, like he always says, y'all Trinidadians just like to wine. And I doesn't know how to respond to that, right? Be like, well, you have a point there, right? But we don't just whine.
Right.
But, when I was in Grenada, my stepdaughter had her sports day and stuff. And I was
What school she goes to?
What's it called?
St. Joseph's?
She used to go Westmoreland.
Oh, Westmoreland.
But she goes to another school. I can't remember it right now
Yeah.
off the top of my head. But it's a good school, actually. But they had this sports day. And I haven't been to a sports day since 19, I don't know. And when I was growing up, I was the flag bearer.
Yeah.
I was the everything,
Leader
right?
of the pack.
I was the leader of the pack, right? Can't run to save my life, but I just, And, when I did that, at first it was like sports day, we really had to come. That's sun hard because, it have a different sun in the Caribbean, right?
My God.
But it was the best thing that I did in a really long time. And I was able to take him and experience and just see the unity that we do in the Caribbean with the houses and the camaraderie and stuff like that. And I was like, I'd be like, Sebastian, you think you can live in the Caribbean? I'd be like, Mom, Grenada have no McDonald's. And I'll be like, well, you're going to live your life around McDonald's, Mom, if it have no McDonald's. But it's like, that's why I see sometimes back in the days, parents used to leave their children in the Caribbean before bringing them up here. Even though up here has opportunities, but that's 17 days. It was 17 days in Grenada and then like about 6 days in Trinidad.
So talk to me a little bit. You didn't stay for the carnival, right? You went in and then you left.
I just went in for Nadia's show,
right,
for Art Form. Shout out for Art Form coming soon.
Art Form is,
that's Nadia
date?
Batson.
What's the date?
June 30th.
June 30th.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's usually around the 4th of July.
Yeah, it's around there. It's just fallen a little weird this year because of,
Yeah.
But I went home for Art Form. It took me a long time to kind of decide to actually go home. I don't know what it was this year. I wasn't feeling the feeling, right? Until that snow hit one weekend. And
it's like,
right?
We out.
Like that snow hit one weekend and then Mikel Tejas's song running town. I was like, I gotta go. Now they are coming. But so I went for 1 week. So I literally went that weekend of Army Fete, right? Which is a great weekend to go because, you see everybody at Army Fete.
That's the weekend before Carnival.
That's the weekend before. But Army Fete is one of those fetes you see everybody and, and I don't know. And I just felt like something was missing. I don't know. I can't speak for after because I wasn't there after. I mean, I've been reading so many people's social medias and I've heard people kind of say the same thing. And then, Trinidadians, we are people, at the end of the day, we're going to enjoy ourselves, money spent. But for me, I just felt, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because the season was short. Some of the music wasn't hitting for me.
Right.
I know you were saying that you really enjoyed the music this year.
I enjoyed the music this year, but if I had to compare last year to this year, I thought last year was a better year overall. Right. Yeah. But
I mean, my favorite year that year right before COVID hit, 2020, that year of Savannah Grass was,
that's one of your favorites.
I really liked that year. I don't know. Last year was good too. I don't know. I just felt, and again, the season is short. Right. I don't know. I just feel, and I am not an artist, so sometimes I don't like to say certain things because I'm not an artist and I'm not in their shoes.
I think you're seasoned in the cultural space enough to have an informed decision. So anything I say is just my opinion, right? I just feel like the way how our music is treated or has been treated, it's like, I don't know if music is just made for Carnival. Right? And if music is just made for Carnival, what ends up happening with a lot of the music, it gets lost in the source, right? Because it's so much.
Because if we're just making music for Carnival, to release for Carnival, in time for Carnival, it's very easy for music to get lost in the source. Right. 1. 2, then comes the problem of, because it is so much music and it's easy for music to get lost among so many, right? We live in this era of what hot now. Right. So artists get this kind of, they become more valid than this person because, he have a hot song. Right. But does that mean he don't have a hot song? You know what I'm saying? And then people start pricing themselves based on whatever vibe came off a Carnival. But it doesn't mean that there wasn't other people with good, solid music. Right. And I just feel like if we keep that culture of the what hot now, or what was hot this year, do you really say that with think about it. think about the dancehall artists. Think about R&B, about
Right.
rap. Do you say, oh, Cardi B, it's hot right now? Well, I
Right.
mean, yes, everybody puts out albums,
Right.
and yes, you will say, okay, you know, this album she have is hot or whatever. But when you hire an artist outside of this genre, we
It's-
kind of look at their catalog,
The body of work.
their body of work, right? So, you know, somebody could go and see, I'm just drawing a reference, New Edition, because they were a fan from
Right.
years go back or whatever the case may be. But I just feel like I wish that our music could be made throughout the year.
Right.
So it just does not become a carnival thing. Now, this is just me as a non-artist.
So here's why I'm thinking this is going to change. There is so many little carnivals popping up.
Right.
And the demand for artists and right. I'm seeing like, so there's like, you know, the big dogs, the tier, but the tier under the big dogs, I'm seeing like a lot of people traveling to some of the smaller
So that's
locations,
the thing, like,
smaller
you know,
carnivals.
I hate that small island
Yeah.
phrase, right?
Right.
Because I'd be like, who the hell is,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Trini, right?
Yeah.
And I first to say I was part of that, these small islands, and I
Yeah.
just have to catch myself all the time. We shouldn't be saying no small island. We
Right.
actually fasten out our place. Give everybody their props or whatever. Yes, islands are smaller in the
In
sense
size.
of size and population, right? But what I will say is, and again, Trinidadians, we would always argue, oh, we are the Mecca.
Right.
Right? It's not even about that. All these other carnivals, right, have been trending more and more and more and more and more.
St.
And
Kitts.
St. Kitts, Dominica, St. Croix, all these islands, Antigua,
Martinique.
Jamaica, Grenada, Vinci, all these carnivals are trending more and more. And you find that people now, instead of staying in New York for the whole summer,
Yeah.
they're banking like, look, I go in St. Lucia.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tickets is expensive. Yeah, the hotels is, but they go in, right? And I'm seeing it more and more. I'm seeing it more and more. So my thing is like, you can't just make, and I'm talking about Trini artists
Right.
here, same as Grenadian artists or other artists. You can't just make music for
Your
your carnival, because you never know what will hit. And then also, I believe that when you put out music, you have to work the song, you know? And again, I am not an artist, so I don't know how their creative mind works in terms of, you know, when you have, you make 5 songs, which song should I push?
So it sounds like you're ready for a side hustle in
No, I'm
A&R.
not.
Yeah?
No, I'm not. I will stay on to that artist thing, not me. I don't have the belly for it, right? Because, you know, but it's just kind of like you said, you know, when you're on the sidelines, right?
Yeah.
So, can't sing to save my life. And,
either.
you know,
Yeah, I'm
but when
horrible.
you're on the sidelines, you know,
Yeah.
we all give our opinions, but when you're on the sidelines and you're paying for the product, you know, you start to pay attention, or you start to dig here and dig here.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, I would love to sit down, and not like I can't, right?
Yeah.
But maybe I need to, but I would love to sit down and talk to artists. Because sometimes I wonder, I'd be like, yo, you know that song you had was real bad?
Yeah.
Like, why we not hearing it? Why we didn't hear it, right? Because sometimes an artist probably might have a vision, and this song, they might think, this is the banger, and they push that one, and then they push one, but they did 5 other songs, and it gets thrown to the side. I don't know how their method of madness works.
Let me ask a question. Do you think because soca is coming of age in a time of social media, it's a little bit harder to have a unified voice, because anybody can pretty much pick up a phone,
Right.
put out an opinion, and 10,000 people can either like it, share it, disagree with it.
Right.
And it just sometimes
Yes.
it becomes kind of like, what is the underlying issue here? Because there's so many different voices pushing through at
and
once.
that, unfortunately, that is the, you know, I always say social media is a gift
And a curse, yeah.
right? And that happened the other day. I'm not calling any names, but, you know, somebody was tweeting. I don't know if you saw that, but one of our DJs was tweeting, prominent
Right.
DJs was tweeting, like
Right.
Trump, I like to say, right? And, you know, again, no shade, just saying, you know, when you have a voice,
Right.
you have to be so careful about how you use it, right? And I think as colleagues, we don't have to be friends, right? But I think it's okay to nudge and say, hey, you know, I find what you say.
Yeah,
What
it's
you
a
meant
little-
by that?
yeah.
That kind of way. But, we have to be so careful about what we put out into that social media universe because it's
Right.
hard to take back, right? And then when you put out things, what comes with it,
Yeah.
right? It's hard to take that back either. But so many of us have a voice, and that's why we constantly have this road march
Right.
battle in
Conversation.
Trinidad, right? But my thing is, oh God, we having this conversation for years, right? Everybody say, oh, they didn't cheat,
Yeah.
it's the mafia, all kind of craziness. And I refuse to go into the mafia conversation with the soca mafia. But why not?
Do you believe there's a soca mafia?
Do I believe there's a soca mafia? Let me just say the way that they operate
Yeah.
the system, because I am a person of
Yeah.
system, the way they operate the systems of certain things like this, the road march and stuff, it is in a mafia type of way.
Okay.
Do I believe there's a mafia? I cannot say that because
Yeah.
then your next question might be, who is the mafia,
Nah,
right?
I promise I wouldn't ask that
So
question.
I cannot say that. So it's not that I believe, I am not going to stand up here and say, yes, there's a soca mafia.
Yeah.
Not saying that. I am saying that some of these systems, the way, the order, they have street order, the
Yeah.
order of how things flow, it is done sometimes in a mafia system because the way how road march is judged makes absolutely no sense. You all are judging it based on what the DJs play when they cross the stage.
Right.
Then the DJ is going to play.
Who they like?
If I'm a DJ, I'm going to play what I like.
Right.
That's what it is. Or depending on the DJ, I'm going to play what I was told to play.
Or paid to play.
Paid to play, right? You can't even, I heard somebody say, well, you know what? They should not tell anybody where the judging points are, right? And but that is not going to work in Trinidad because here what?
Yeah.
Everything is always, you can't hold a secret.
I actually like that idea, though.
But that's what someone
Yeah.
suggested. Someone suggested, do not tell them where the judging points are. Let them do whatever they're doing all
Right.
day.
Right.
They will have secret judging points that no one will
like
know.
that idea.
And you pull these songs, right?
I like that
because
idea.
that's what they do. They play on the road all day. So somebody suggested that. The problem with that is,
Somebody go
Caribbean
leak.
culture
Yeah.
is a bubble,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
somebody will tell somebody else somebody.
Yeah.
But that is a great idea.
I like
but
that
what
idea.
I'm saying is, if we're doing the same thing, right, for years and it's not working, right? Remember, you can't look at 10 years ago as now
Yeah.
we're in a social media market, right? Why aren't we changing?
GMGT big.
Why aren't we changing the
Big, where
formula
the culture
of
lives.
how we
Big.
doing things? And that is kind of my
GMGT,
so I
oh,
can
it is what
understand
it
why
is.
people have their gripes in terms of how the soca monarch or well, don't even talk about soca monarch because we don't have that anymore.
Right.
But how the road marches run and stuff like that. Where and don't get me wrong, it's Caribbean. You'll always get pecan and stuff like that. But some of these systems are not good at
So-
all.
Speaking about the road march, what was your favorite 3 songs this year? Like,
My favorite 3 songs for Road March. Runaway. It's not Runaway. Sorry, DNA definitely because for me, yes, I've heard people say DNA, the speed of it,
Right.
but I am telling you, and I am not a masquerader because I have paid enough mass from since I'm 13, right? So
Yeah.
I'm over mass. But DNA made me feel to literally run
Go
in
back.
town. DNA is what made me feel like, all right,
Jump the plane.
I gotta go,
Yeah.
right? And so I liked DNA. I'm not gonna lie, Contract grew on me. Wasn't feeling it in the beginning,
Right.
but Contract grew on me. I like Anxiety.
yeah, okay.
I like Anxiety. I just think maybe the timing and everything with Ricardo and
Yeah.
everything, for some people, it sends 2 messages.
Right.
And for me too, when I hear Anxiety, I could go in a corner. I feel like I could
Right.
cry, but then I so love it too, right? But if you look at Anxiety from a carnival perspective,
Yeah.
Anxiety is bad. I
Yeah.
love
It's a well-written
Anxiety.
song.
It's a well-written song, music, everything. So I like those 3. I'm thinking.
My sleeper was Pretty. Beating Road.
I've been paying attention to Pretty of
Yeah.
recent. He had nice music this year.
Oh, yeah.
There was a couple of nice songs, but when it comes to Road March, those 3, yeah, and again, the timing of a song, right? Because Anxiety, like I said, Anxiety came out later, right? It came out later, and I think because it goes in that Ricardo, it makes you
Right.
think of Ricardo and stuff like that. It wasn't looked at like Road March. If Bungie had won, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that Mikael won because for me, it wasn't about the win. It was a message that it sent as
Right.
well because it gives the other upcoming artists hope. that, hey,
Yeah.
somebody
This is
new
a
could
young
win.
guy.
Yeah, it's a young
He
guy.
could break
Somebody else
through.
new could win because, we keep hearing the same names over and
Right.
over. So,
So I'm going to bring it back on the whole tweet that was put out. I saw that you addressed it, right?
yes, I did address it.
What was the feedback that you got from that conversation from people?
Meaning me addressing
Yeah.
it. So here's the thing, right? Because, I don't know, people always feel like,
And by the way you addressed it was respectful.
yeah,
It
that's
was
the thing.
it was
like,
laid out.
Right. So that's the thing. Like I always have situations where people be like, you can't say that or
Right.
don't say that or whatever. He's a business person, right? So a lot of times I do stay quiet. People don't think so, but I do. Because I always think like, what, I don't want to deal with the old talk, right? And then sometimes I feel like if I say something is a problem, but if a next man say it, it's not a problem, right? So that's two. There's other things like other tweets that was said that I could have addressed.
Right.
I chose not to, right? Because it wasn't my concern, like the prices of this and that. I could talk about that, but I'm not going to. That was the least of my issues. That particular tweet, like I said in my post, no shade against the person. I have a lot of respect for this person. And we are not friends. We're like, hey, what's up? And I cool, right? But that, it just irritated me.
Right.
Because I felt like, and again, it's my opinion.
And when I read it,
right?
I'm like, this is the way you
it's just
address.
my opinion,
this
right?
is the way you address something.
I did my best because, like I said, I have a friend who said, Natalie, oh God, that go start trouble. I'd be like, yo, if I didn't intend for trouble, like, but I respect my friend's views at time. But I don't think it's fair. I think that we are public people in our community, and there are times I might say something on social media, people may not like it, and that's okay, right? I'm not gonna get vexed with you as long as you keep it respectful. But I just felt like irresponsible messaging is a thing we have to be careful, especially when everybody don't have to like us, but there are people that do look up to things that we say. And I felt it was like a good job and a pullback, right? And then
it's like you're handing an accolade and then
I
slapping
felt like it was, what's the word? It kind of, and I don't want to go down the mafia road, right? But it just felt like I felt the need to say this, but I gotta give this person some cheers too. Like, it was just off to me. And I don't know, because I am a writer, right? So when I start writing, it's hard to pull me back, right? And like when I wrote that, this is the first time in a long time I actually sent it to a friend and say, read this and make sure I'm not saying it.
So I will give you your props. In terms of average words per post, I think you lead in the pack by far on my whole timeline. When you put up a post, Natalie, it's usually a read. You have to get a little corner
and read, right?
It's a read. And I can tell because that has been consistently your post.
Usually I don't, but this time I actually said, I was like, listen, just read this over for me, because
make sure I'm going off the rails.
I know once I write this, I probably would get some backlash, and I don't care. But my most important thing is I don't want it to come across like being disrespectful to anybody, because I feel like we can speak without disrespecting. Now, here's the catch. I don't get the same courtesy for myself from others. Like when people come at me, they just come, right? And I just take it however it is. But I'll tell you something. And people could just gas you up, right? And I am good now. I'm great at telling who's the gassers and
who's the real.
But I'll tell you something. There's so many people that reach out to me directly on my phone. People who we don't speak. I didn't think they would even want to speak or whatever. There's so many people who reached out to me and said, hey, I appreciate you addressing that. And you know when something is genuine, and like I said, you know when something is gassing. There are people, there are artists, there are DJs who reach out to me, and patrons, right? Who reach out to me and say, hey, I appreciate you acknowledging that. And it wasn't like shade at the person who said it. It was just because, again, we in social media, people, the people are so invested in the artists and in the DJs and the promoters and stuff like that. It's the same way. If someone says something about me, you're going to have people cheering it on, and then you'll have a whole Natalie clan coming to fight you. That's just the nature of the game of how it is. But I don't know. I think with Mikael too, and Mikael and I are not friends. We have worked together, and he's always respectful. We worked together once, but I've known of him. But if you people energy and vibe, right? He's a worker. He pound the pavement. Yeah. He's an excellent writer.
He's been a behind-the-scenes writer for a while.
He ain't no fly-by-night that's just trying a thing. You could hear it in his music, even the music that he's written for others. You could hear
this man is
that,
a writer.
Yeah, you could see and feel his passion in the arts, right? So I think you should protect the culture. Just the same way if somebody said it the same way with Bungie, I would have said the same way, like, we're saying here, you could have phrased this a lot better. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I personally feel like that phrase shouldn't even be made at all. That's how I felt.
It wasn't necessary.
Right? Mm-hmm. But again, that's the culture. That's what we live in right now, right? And like you said, people just have this social media avenue so we could just voice. But a lot of people, if you read under the comments, there are people who say, hey, I love Hardfett and I feel Hardfett should have won, but I don't like this statement. And they went in, and I tried. There are people who went really disrespectful, and I erased those things one time because one thing I try not to do is create platforms for people we could talk. Yeah, we could talk. We could agree to disagree. Right. We could get a little, but from the time it gets disrespectful to anybody, that's really not my agenda,
So I consider you here in Brooklyn, what should I say? Cultural ambassador, right? A lot of the things that you do here around bringing artists, giving people a chance to be able to view artists, it's something that I think that people probably underestimate the importance of that, because a lot of the things we lose when we get here, we get a little bit back of it when we are able to be around people who we like and listen to the music we enjoy. I know sometimes, like when I'm in corporate environments and I have to, sometimes I feel like I can't be myself. Right? But when I go to like a shush or a chic
or the event, you feel like,
I could be myself. I could whine, I could sing, and everybody around me is gonna understand that, right? I know this is something that you take seriously, and I feel the passion every time situations like this come up, right? I feel like in New York City, which is supposed to be the media capital of the world, we are missing a lot of opportunities to capitalize on this product that we have, because look at the thousands and the millions of people that's traveling back to all the islands and stuff, right? How do we become Afrobeats? Is my short question.
So listen, again, because I'm not a musician and I'm not in there, I feel we holding ourselves back.
Okay.
I feel the people in the industry, the artists, and I feel we hold ourselves back. It's not that we don't have the potential to be.
We definitely have, and the talent.
I think there's a lot of different factors that holding us back. Even sometimes the way we market ourselves, the way that we handle our business. And I think I've said this to you before. One of my biggest issues with the artists, and this is nothing that I would not say to any of them if we had the conversation. Your management and your PR is key. Right? And we need to come out of this era of, well, it's my cousin, my brother,
my sister,
my neighbor, my friend from long time. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some artists who might have a husband managing them or, a close friend, and it works. But general consensus, right, is that laissez-faire kind of halfway Johnny come lately, Dolly House, I would say, management, the systems again. These are the things that hold us back because, I always tell, like, when I talk to some artists, I'll be like, hey, man, you don't even understand your power.
Right.
You understand your power? I don't even think you embrace, that's be my call. I don't even think you understand your power or you embrace your power. And I would say to some of them, I'll be like, listen, you need to understand if being a soca artist this is how you bring your income to your family.
Right.
You have to treat this like this is your job. This is it. Like, we get so caught up in the celebrity status and, oh yes, that is stuff that comes with it. But this is your job.
Right.
This is how you pay your bills for your family. This is how, so I remember saying to an artist one time, I said, what's your child name again?
Yeah.
Mary. I said, this is how you take care of Mary. And if you don't start acting like a beast for Mary, it's not about you, it's for Mary, right? You need to change your whole mindset. And anybody who messes with your business or don't conduct your business is messing with Mary.
Right.
I needed to start thinking like that. Everything you do, sometimes you have to give to get. Sometimes in business, and I always tell people this, and I learned this a long time ago. In order to get comfortable, you have to become uncomfortable, right? That's in business, relationships, friendships, whatever the case may be.
So I've been using that a lot with my team lately.
Yes.
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
You have to be uncomfortable to get comfortable, right? Getting comfortable does not happen overnight. Some people it's happened faster for them. Some people it takes long, whatever it is. But nobody wants to do the work. Everybody wants to just snap their fingers or whatever. We listen, I was making a joke with somebody the other day, and I said, I remember when I first came to New York, and everybody, they wearing their, like Jordan's Puma, this, that was you're decked out, right? Now it's like people are decked out even more, but on the higher brands, right? Jordans, we go to the corner store in that. We go to the mall in Jordans. We don't go to the party in Jordans. Everybody is
it's Prada,
Gucci, Prada, this, Fendi, this, right? And it's like, we get so caught up in all those things that we're not doing the work to get these things.
Can I give you a concept for an event?
Sure.
Do an event and people can't have their phones.
I don't know if that will happen. We checking phones by the door.
No, we ain't checking phones by the door. I went to a Chappelle show one time in MSG, Madison Square, and you got a pouch and you put your phone in the pouch. So because they didn't want anybody recording.
Right.
Yeah. That was the most engaged I ever was.
Right. So the cell phone, of course.
Right.
People are not engaged in the way that we used to because everybody is.
I see Bungie post a video from Firefest or something from 20 years ago, and the crowd engagement.
And that's the thing. One of the reasons why I started having these type of fests is that's what I miss. When I couldn't fly back home, and plain talk bad manners, when I didn't have my papers to get home.
Right.
When Booz Taylor and these guys and in Casey Hideaway and I saw a flyer with Fett, right? Up here. I didn't know who was showing it. All I know is I used to see a flyer and this artist and that artist and ecstatic and this and this and I just run and I gone, right? Because I didn't have the opportunity. I couldn't go home. I miss being able. I am a put on short pants, sneakers and I go on the Fett. All this.
Little flag on your loop.
A little flag, a little whatever, right? So I started doing this because I felt like after Booz Taylor and they subsided, we weren't getting a lot of fests showcasing artists and stuff like that, So it needed kind of like a revamp, and not just the artist, the quality of the fet and adding little thrills and stuff like that. And the reason why I started it is because I feel like it was missing, right? It was missing. But I don't know. It's just kind of like now it's becoming harder. I'll be honest, like as a promoter, it's becoming harder because again, like I mentioned before, we don't get sponsors. Everything comes out of pocket. The pricing of the artist, it's
astronomical.
Yeah, astronomical. The reality of it is the way how our music works.
Right.
It doesn't work in a way where you could just drop an artist and tickets just fly off the shelf. It doesn't work like that. So from a business standpoint, when you add an artist, you have to look at the value that it's adding.
So the part in that equation that I think people don't understand, like you were saying, in other genres, an artist will tour on their own.
Yes.
If you guys are not bringing these guys are not really coming out unless it's like...
Right. I mean, like you've seen there are certain artists now that are starting to do their own shows.
Right.
But can everybody do it? They could try it.
Right.
But not everybody willing to take the risk up, because it was just Marshall and Marshall Monday and that's it. And then Kes did Kes Tuesday and Kes on the Rocks and stuff. And then you have Nadia and Lero. I can't think who else does their show. That's it. I think Patrice does her show and that's it.
There's somebody else in Trinidad that does a show too.
I think
it's-
Irfin and Irfin does a
Yeah,
thing.
somebody-
Nyla does
yeah.
a show. Nyla. These are all recent. Nyla, Second Star does a show. But
Second Star,
let me
Second
ask you a
Sunday.
question,
That's
right?
what I was thinking
You have
about.
Second Sunday. You have Irfin Alf does a E-Day, if
Yeah.
I'm correct. Nyla does a show. Right? Why is it not touring?
Right. Correct.
Right? I am saying that, and these shows are well attended home. And these are all great artists, right? I feel like our soca artists should be able to tour, right? Now, they may not have the same result in New York that you may have in Rhode Island
Right.
or in whatever, but why not, look, take the time to find out
Right.
where your fan base are. What is your fan base here? And even if you have to go to a Rhode Island
Yeah.
and do a tour with 200 people,
Right.
it's okay. It's called putting in the work, right? You have to want to put in the work, you know. Like Bungie I've never seen a Bungie showcase,
Right.
and he could do it. He and Fian could definitely do it, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, I don't know. They would probably be able to answer why the music is not
Right.
crossing. I mean, some of them trying. Nyla, I think, just got signed. I believe I saw that. And, you know, Kes has been trying to do the
Yeah, Kes,
crossover thing.
I see Kes has been doing like some serious crossover
Yeah,
work.
they're trying to do crossover. But is it working? Or we have to give it time?
So what I can say is that they sold out Central Park.
Of course.
Yeah, they sold that out
I mean,
quickly.
Kes definitely has a diverse market. We
Yeah.
know that. And, you know, you would always get... But like I said, with Kes and Marshall, you definitely get a
Right.
sold out, you
So
know?
if you guys as promoters play such an important part in that ecosystem of actually being the tour guys, because you're the ones that's putting them up. I'm pretty sure there's an athlete in Florida, there's an athlete in Charlotte, right? Some of the main places. You guys are currently the culture in terms
Right.
of creating, and
I mean, I
it
think
goes
that's
both
what
ways, right?
some of them are trying to do, like
Right.
the Leros and the Nadia.
Yeah.
And I think Patrice is coming with a show soon, I
Right.
believe.
But why do you think there's like this animosity? I'm feeling like there's a little tension between like the artistry side, the promoter side.
I think, yeah, there is a tension there. I think, again, and it's just real talk, I think the pricing of it sometimes does not work for the event that we're trying to put on and what we're trying to showcase.
Right.
I mean, if let's say an average, you know, if one artist is charging 12, but you need 4 artists to create a good show, that's 12 by 4, just
Right.
drawing a reference. One might be 12, one might be 15, one
Right.
might be this. You know, and you're not talking hotel airfare per diem,
Right.
these things, you know. Sometimes it is too much to deliver, you know. The
So-
maths probably not mathsing.
Without calling any names, can you give me an idea of what it will cost you to do like one artist, a top artist?
Right now, nobody is less than 10,
Okay.
right? Nobody is less than 10, I think. You might get some of the upcoming ones, you know, to be able to work that out, but I think nobody's really less than 10, and that is saying it loosely. You're
Right.
talking about 12s, 14, it depends. And, you know, of course, each market is different.
So technically speaking, if we average it as let's just say 15, to bring 4 artists in Brooklyn is going to cost you 60 grand.
So to bring 4 artists, 4 solid artists
Yeah.
in Brooklyn, yes, could cost you anyway, because you have to factor in, for example, if you have 4 solid artists at a minimum of 10, right? That's 40.
Right.
You have to fly them, you have to fly manager, you have to fly sometimes whatever
Yeah,
it is,
the
right?
DJ, there's some
Then you
guy.
have to put them in hotels. Then there's per diem, meaning, you know, pay them up per diem a day. So between the flights, and then it's first class flights.
Right.
Yeah, it easily, to bring 4 solid artists could be 60 easy.
60 easy.
And it could be more, because we're estimating this
Right,
at 10
yeah.
an artist. There are artists that are 15 and whatever. So sometimes it's not as easy. I find it's becoming a little bit more difficult to give the
Right.
show that we want to do.
But then that cost gets passed down to me, the
and then
the
it's like
patron.
now you're
Yeah.
trying to pass the costs down to the patron,
Right.
right? Which is not as easy.
And then I'm looking at
as
you
it
as the
is.
bad guy.
Of course, they're like, we're gonna win that league.
Yeah,
Higher
yeah,
tickets,
right.
you know. Listen, my whole thing is, I mean, I've always been like this, but I'm trying to focus on it a lot more now, because, you know, I've been doing the all-inclusive for the last 2 years with all my events. my focus is experience.
Right.
I want people to they're paying for an experience. It has nothing to do with artists and this DJ. It's experience, meaning how they feel when they walk in the doors, you know. Because, like I was making a joke with somebody, I was like, listen, I can take $4,000, $5,000 and buy cases of lobster, you know, and give people lobster, you know. And then they'd be like,
I'll be there.
I went and I got lobster, right?
When we having that show, I'm there.
But
I'm there
that's
for the
kind of
lobster.
like my agenda for this year. Like, I want to...
Lobster at Shush. Oh
we
my
having
gosh.
lobster at Shush, baby. We having lobster this year.
Gosh.
I want to step up the game a little bit, you know what I mean? And I think I've kind of mastered it a little bit where I could find ways to do things. You know, it is costly and I'll deal with it, but it's about the longevity.
Let me ask you a question. You have been successfully running this ship for 15 years. One restaurant, multiple locations under your belt right now, right? You're about to open up a second restaurant, completely different concept, right? Why don't you think the sponsors are coming to you?
You know what? First, let's be clear. Our genre at the bottom of the list. Let's be clear.
Right.
Let's be clear.
But we're still putting 10,000
so
people
the thing
in a
is, like,
venue.
I've never... I think over the years, I think I got sponsorship from Western Union at one time. Maybe like Barton or things like that. But it's nothing crazy to talk about. It'd be like, oh, we're giving you 3 cases, buy this, whatever. And I'll blame myself too, right? You know, because you know our genres at the bottom, you don't want to get a no. I don't like to get no.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? But I said to myself that I'm going to make the effort, right? Because I have gone to Grenada and gotten sponsorship.
Right.
Like if it's nothing, like
It just don't happen here.
Right? It's just right. So I'm like, okay, Natalie, let's try. Let's make the effort. And I'm going to try. You know what I'm saying? I think I was just hesitant before.
Yeah.
Because...
I want to come to Shush and see it's TD Bank Shush.
Listen, I hear that. You know, because we have the numbers.
Yeah, you do have the numbers.
We have the numbers.
Yeah.
And what we have been doing, a lot of the larger promoters behind the scenes, we have been definitely trying to work with the political aspect of it.
Okay,
to
gotcha.
let them know, hey, y'all need to recognize we add money in the community. Right? We have been trying to, because we need them to start respecting us.
Right.
Why we have to go through this headache to get permit for this and permit for that? Do you know what we bring into the table? Which means we have to start showing them on paper, because talking about it is, you know, so there's a lot of us working behind the scenes. People don't know this, right? But there's a lot of us who work behind the scenes with the mayor or whoever is in the powers that be. You know, it's not perfect, but just know that a lot of us are trying to have conversation. Like, listen, no matter what room I get into, I always like,
You're ready to...
I'm from Trinidad.
Yeah.
Like,
You're ready to speak
and then,
your mind.
like, of course, like I consider myself /Grenadian now. So I'm like everything. I'm like Trinidad, Grenada.
We welcome you with open arms.
No, listen, it's crazy because I'm getting my passport, right? But listen, it's crazy.
Your Grenadian passport?
I'm going to do it. Yeah, we're doing it. But listen,
I wish I had a drop to play, but I had to play some. I had to play something for that.
Listen, I find myself, I would be talking to my friends and they'd be like, oh, where you was? I ain't seen you. I'd be like, oh, I went home.
Yeah.
Right? And I'd be like, shoot. But I went Grenada. Well, it's because it feels like home, right? And I am very Trinity Bona, but I would say that Grenada has seeped into my blood, right, to an extent. So I have a love for Grenada. So it's like now it's like I'm kind of like every room I get into is like hey Trini, hey, Grenada, Trini, you know, because I feel like a lot of the islands, like people like to say the small islands, you don't hear anything, and they're just as powerful as a Trinidad or a Jamaica or let me tell you something, island people are everywhere. So once I get into a room with powers that be, I do not hide who I am and where I'm from. And like I tell people all the time, I could go open a restaurant in Missouri today. It will have stewed chicken. And if they don't know it, they would learn today. You know, because, you know, sometimes I feel like our culture is so misrepresented.
Yeah,
sometimes,
I think so too.
And we don't get the credit that we should get. So that will just always be my vibe. Like I'm very You know, yeah, I make my jokes about Trinidad and Grenadian, but my grandfather's story has always been like the Caribbean should be just one house. You know what I mean?
agree.
Like just one house with different rooms, and that's always been my motto. The Caribbean is one house. So I would always like, you'll see Caribbean, that's just it. Like always try to promote Caribbean culture on the whole. I just wish we could band together as a community, which means the DJs, the people with voices, and even the patrons, you know, even the people in the community.
I think the problem is people want a voice. What I'm seeing is that sometimes a lot of people from the other camps do not know how to handle, I would say, constructive criticism. And sometimes it's not constructive.
Right.
It's because, you know, when the mob comes out, oh, this DJ was trash, blah, blah, blah. What I've not seen from any DJ is, hey, you know what, guys? Maybe there is a problem here. How do we fix it?
Absolutely.
I've never seen a how do we fix it post. All I've seen is, not me. I didn't do it. I played all the hot songs. No, that's not.
That is the conversation with the DJs now. Are we playing the music?
Right.
Or they're not playing all the music. Like I see DJ Gel talk about it all the time. He'd be like, yo, it's how many weeks past Carnival and I'm still finding new songs. Like I constantly, you know, and he may not think I'm reading his post, but I am. You know what I'm saying? He's keeping the conversation going. I wish that as colleagues, because we are colleagues in this industry, would get together a little bit more. Just like how in the corporate world, they have conferences and they get together and have conversations. Like I wish, but I also wish we would have genuine conversation. Not just say what you think people want to hear and say things for face or scared to say things per se. Like, I think once we keep it respectful, we could definitely have a difference of opinion.
Yeah, because I don't understand why it's like nobody wants to take the criticism and say, how do we fix it? It's always deflection, not me. It's those people over there. Or if you had hired me, you would have gotten the music. And it's just shade, and nothing about fixing it. And to me, that is one of the problems we have, that we can't go forward because our culture is so rich and so dynamic and so awesome and you know, and what's gonna happen, I think eventually some outsiders are gonna come in, and because they have their systems in place, they're gonna just come in and they're gonna suck all the capital resources into and they're gonna just rape the culture. And I don't want it to get that way, but I'm scared.
I mean, if you compare, I'm 46, right? So if I compare, I mean, obviously things change, times change, things change. We get that. If I was to go back to how my carnivals were and my partying experience was and compare it to now, there's a lot of things that changed for the better. Right. But there's a lot of things that stayed stagnant. And there's a lot of things that were like, I am so against the bikini and beads culture, right?
I'm against it too, and I'm a guy.
I'm not knocking it. You know, I'm not knocking it because some woman could wear that I can't wear. Like I tell people all the time, even if I had 6-pack, whatever, I wasn't going the lengths of what I see. Right. But I'm not knocking anybody who does. But that's why I lost my zeal for mass. Like everything is like so. It's overpriced. It's like
and skimpy.
It's skimpy. It's like
nothing to the imagination.
You know, when I do see a costume, I'm like, oh, you know, shoot, that's nice. You know, it happens once in a while. To be honest, now like I be looking at some of the islands, like I was looking at costumes from St. Lucia, and I'm like, woo, I didn't feel like that, you know. So I don't know. I just feel like Carnival has become so commercialized. So I don't know, just about the money part of it. And I don't know how we could get back. I don't have a problem with evolving and things, you know, of course, but I just feel like we're missing some of the old traditions and stuff like that.
So, you know, they say doctors make like horrible patients, right? Right. As a promoter, if you had to go to like the perfect party.
In New York or Trinidad?
Anyway, I'm not putting any... If you had to go to the perfect party, what is happening? Is there somebody performing? Is it going to be dress up? Is it going to be laid back?
The perfect party for me?
Perfect party.
Here's the thing with the performing part of it, right? Even when I do shows, I don't like performers that slow the event down.
Yeah.
Right? I find performers need to come, do what they gotta do, match up the stage and go.
Right.
Right? So if I go to an event and performers can do that for me, I had a blast. You
Right.
come and you deliver. Not have me sitting up saying, oh God, when he coming off, when she coming off, or whatever. You done lost me already. If I get a show, because I always appreciate the art. So if I get a show where the performers, where there's 4, 5, 6, I don't care, come and do what they have to do, I could truly appreciate that, right? Outside of the performing thing, if I go to an event and the music is good, I want to feel like when I walk in, I want to feel like this promoter took the time in the little details. I'm not saying that you can't go to a party and have no details and the music is not,
Right.
I am just saying, in this day and age now, I appreciate the little details. I appreciate the little details where I'd be like, oh, this person thought about this. Because for me, I am not a wind down kind of girl.
Right.
So because I am not a wind down kind of girl, I look at I'm the sober one. Okay, granted, I might be looking from a promoter's eye, but take
Right.
that away. But I am the sober person who just having a shandy, having water, and just kind of like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
Or, oh, you could actually tell when people
Put the thought in.
put the thoughts into things. Or even like when I go to, maybe it's just me, but even when I go to, let's say somebody's serving food, for example, and I go, if I see foil pans, I vex. If I paid $50 to $60 for
And
the
you see
ticket,
pans.
and I see foil pans, like when you set up the barbecue
Yeah.
in the backyard, I get mad because I feel like that's for barbecue in the backyard.
Right.
I want to see when I come to an event, this is just me, Ole,
Right.
don't come and kill me, yeah, but I'm just saying for me, I just feel like at the stage in the game, when I go to somebody's event with food, I want to see the food set up properly.
Right.
Sanitized, things are in order. Not just looking like you just throw, granny cook something, mommy cook something, and you're giving me that. I don't want to feel like that. So I look at the little things like that. Believe it or not, there are a couple, and I'm going to say smaller promoters. And when I say smaller, meaning, they're not in the large category because of the amount that do deliver. And I could appreciate it. And I'd be like, I'm going to go, because I have a good time. There's a couple of them.
Nice. I don't see you all too often, but when I do see you,
That's everybody's thing, but
but that
it's
happens.
because I'm
yeah.
constantly busy, and if I go, I just touch base, like, go
So-
show my face kind of thing.
in your constant evolution, right? Growth. Like we said at the beginning, this is year 15 for you, right? What do you think year 20 is going to look like?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder about these things, but here's the thing. In order for me, I'm at year 15, and I have to go hard or go home
Right.
in order for me to have year 20. You know what I'm saying? So everything that I do, when I do an event, it's not even about this year, it's about next year.
Right.
When I do New Year's, it's not even about, as much as I'm putting all the energy and effort, it's not even, it's like when the event comes, the event done in my mind, and it
Right.
didn't start
You already
yet. I am
moved on.
thinking
Yeah.
about next year, because you want to be able to have a next year.
Yeah.
So for me to reach 15, for me, truly, truly, truly is like a great thing in my mind. So I have to deliver hard, because I need to make sure, okay, who knows, 20 might be it for me.
So the first
I don't know.
shush based on math was in 2009?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Around there, yeah.
Nice.
With 400 people.
Yeah.
400
The
people.
first time I heard about shush was when it was on Ralph. That
Yeah.
was Tiki Village or whatever was over
down
there.
on that side, yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that's the first time I heard.
Yeah, I mean,
The word
we've had
shush.
everybody at Shush. The only person we have never had is Marshall, and that's because I don't have Marshall money, or I choose not to spend it. And the one time I did Marshall,
So-
I think
so
I paid next to nothing. This
Yeah,
years ago.
year 20?
Yeah, no. Love him to death, but I let me just keep my money in my pocket, okay?
Yeah, 20.
But I mean, and you know what? Like, I did Marshall years ago when he was with Ecstatic, and he took a break from Ecstatic that year. He was just by himself. This is years ago. I probably paid like $6,000 US,
I
right?
don't even put out that day.
But he
The
probably
monk-
may not even remember
the
this,
monk,
right?
The monk
But,
is like, yo, charge you in retro.
but would I like to do him again? Yes, because he's somebody that he's a friend of mine. I haven't we haven't spoken in like face to face in so long, but he's a friend of mine, and we grew up around the same era and stuff like that. So it would be a great thing for me to say, oh, I put on a show now, you know, and because I think he's a creative genius.
Oh yeah,
and,
he hands
know.
down. Have you ever had Mr. Killer?
Yes, I did Mr. Killer.
Okay, you did Mr.
Yes,
Killer.
I love
Just-
Killer.
Yeah, just making sure that you,
Yes.
you took care of your Grenadian roots.
Yes, I did Killer. I've done Lava Man. I did Killer.
Mm-hmm.
When I did Lava Man, it wasn't a big emphasis because I added him so last minute. I
Yeah.
think that's when I first met Davis and he was like, they had to add a Grenadian, you know. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm not feeling this. And I was like, all right, fine. But, so I think when I did Lava Man, it wasn't on a big scale where I was able to promote. It was
Him
kind of like
fully,
the week
yeah.
of kind of like added him. But we did Killer. We've done Natty and Thunder so many
Yeah,
times.
yeah,
Those
I've
are one
seen
of my
that, yeah.
favorite. They're my favorite. But you know, we did Boise last year. I love Boise too. We did Terror.
Yeah.
We did Temptress.
All right.
We
I
did
remember that.
Temptress. We did Terror.
Who haven't you worked with? Do you think you want
So
to work
I
with?
can tell you who is one of my favorite Grenadian artists.
No, outside of Grenada. Anybody
Outside
in
of Grenada?
general. Mm-hmm.
I think soca artists.
Soca. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've done Tedison. I've done Problem. I've done Skinny because I'm thinking outside of
Yeah.
Trinidad.
Outside of people that already have graced the stage at Shush,
Right.
any island, any artist.
That I would want to work with?
Yes.
That's a good question. Any, it doesn't have to be soca.
Any artist.
Outside of, that's a good question. I would have to think about that.
Yeah. Because
Rihanna, I love Rihanna.
Oh.
I love Rihanna. I actually love Rihanna more than Beyonce. Maybe it's because she have Caribbean blood. I don't know.
Yeah. I actually love Rihanna too.
Yeah.
Let me Pumper. I would love to
So
see
yeah,
Pumper.
I've been watching Pumper.
Yeah.
I've been watching him. I saw him in Trinidad. I've been watching him. Where is he from again? Is it Virgin Islands?
One of those. I think it's Virgin Islands.
So listen, there's the Pumpers that you have to
DJ
look out for.
Avalanche.
So somebody told me about him. I
Yeah.
went and I checked him out. I heard he's really good.
Avalanche is energy wise is crazy.
I checked him out.
Yeah.
I've been watching Pumper. I mean, Adamo. I think Adamo just, if Adamo get one banger right now,
Yeah.
people in trouble. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion.
Yeah,
It might be a
he's-
little biased, but
yeah.
I think he is good. I think Adamo could sing songs that I don't know, but he
Right.
just is a good performer. So I know, and I see him, he's putting in the work. But yeah, I've been watching Pumper. I just started to watch Pretty.
Right.
You know, because again, sometimes, we just get like certain artists shoved in our face and then, people get thrown to the side kind of thing. Like Irfan Out, he's one of my favorite.
Yeah. Irfan is consistent.
Irfan is like really good.
Mhm, solid and
I
consistent.
didn't really hear what he had this year, but Irfan is like super consistent. But one of my favorite Grenadian artists is Slaughter. Ringtone is
big boy from Carrick.
I like him.
Yeah.
I think I've only seen him perform in like a Talpri,
Yeah.
or whatever. The only thing is like,
His catalog is amazing. I don't
Amazing.
understand. Like he's
Amazing.
like a gem for
I like
yeah.
his music. I could play his music all day long. So I've never worked with him, but I really, really like his music.
You heard he has a song about you rather fall in doo doo,
I would have to go listen.
yeah, and not fall in love.
I would
And
have
he's
to go listen to it. But I really really
Yo,
like
Slaughter
him.
is just
I
creative.
also
Yeah.
saw Vaughn at Art Form, and he was somebody. I mean, I know he's good,
Yeah.
but I never paid attention.
Yeah.
But I saw him at Art Form, and he did an excellent job.
Vaughn is very talented. He's a
Yes.
great writer too. He
Oh,
writes.
really?
Yeah, he wrote a lot for Blacks when Blacks was alive. I know he has done some.
I miss Blacks.
Yeah?
Like, I miss
The last place I saw Blacks was at
Blacks.
At
Shush.
At Shush.
I miss Blacks outside of missing him personally. I miss Blacks, the artist. Sometimes I'm trying to put together a cast, and I'm
Yeah.
like, who would get here right here?
Blacks.
Blacks will just seal it. And sometimes I'm vexed because when they say you only really appreciate when it gone.
Yeah.
No, I be like, the only person who could have sealed this off is Blacks. Like, yeah, I miss Blacks and his music. But like I said, there's good music. Now they had a great year. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody loves Market. I love Every Time. Every
So,
time I take a
yeah.
sip, whatever, that's my favorite.
Market blew up really early.
Yeah.
let me change gears just a little bit. And this was a question I meant to ask you earlier. So maybe I don't know if this is gonna make the final cut because this question could be considered controversial.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw the video of Patrice performing, and then they had the AI generated
Video.
video of Ricardo, and apparently she didn't even know. They didn't ask the person to make it. They did not greenlight it. The person just went ahead, did it, and they thought it was a nice gesture. I was a little bit weirded out. I'm non-judgmental about it. If this works for you, it works for you. Whoever it works for, it works for. I just felt it was a little bit weird for somebody who did not know the family, didn't have permission or anything, just went ahead.
So I didn't know that backstory.
Yeah.
Did she know about it?
They said no, she didn't know about it until the person presented the video to them in the end.
What I would say is, if I have a show,
Yeah.
there's nothing that going in that show that I don't know about.
Right.
That's one. So I don't really know the backstory of
Right.
it. I never heard that backstory. So I really can't say if she did or she didn't know.
Right.
I know if you're doing a show with any artist that I know, there could never be any graphic that's going in that they don't know
Right.
about.
So not the fact that the graphic got played, the fact that the graphic got made.
Right.
So like,
But it got made, but it got into the show regardless
Yes,
of what.
the person sent it to
even
them.
if they made it or not,
Yeah.
it got into the show.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying from an artist's perspective, if it's an artist show,
Yeah.
there's nothing that should go on that screen that they don't know about.
Right.
So that's one. So I don't know the backstory on it, right? Did I like it?
yeah,
Hell no.
yeah,
That again, non-judgmental, none. Because one thing I know now, after my father passed away, you can't tell anybody how to deal with grief.
yeah, grief.
Right? So that's one thing, like, I wouldn't even talk publicly about that in the sense of, oh, why she do that or whatever.
yeah.
Hell no, right? Because one thing I learned from grief made me check myself. Grief made me check what kind of friend I am.
Yeah.
When I really check myself and I'm like, okay, I had friends who lost people.
Yeah.
Did I act right? Right? So non-judgmental. But personally, from a personal perspective and a business perspective, did I like it? If I'm going to be brutally honest, no. Because it was just weird to me.
Right.
I felt that from a PR perspective, it's also not how it came across,
Right.
even the wording. I would have done a different tribute.
Right.
You know what I mean? I may have sung one of his songs
Right.
and done an a cappella version, whatever, to touch people,
Yeah.
But again, I personally didn't like it. It
Yeah.
kind of was, I was like,
Yeah. For me, it came across like, okay, yeah, because, right, like,
yeah, and
grief.
again, it's
Yeah.
also something that would be talked about. So you would have half the people saying, hey, leave the woman
Yeah,
alone.
yeah, yep.
That's how we are grieving. Or,
Yeah.
hey, you know what, this made me sad.
Right.
And then you'll have another half saying, they don't like it. It's just a matter of opinion. And,
Yeah.
for me, like I said, non-judgmental. No, I didn't really like it.
So before we wrap up, I want to talk about what you have coming up. So there is the island versions of Shush.
Yeah, so first Memorial, we're doing 2 days, as I said. So
Right.
the Saturday is the birthday party. So you're going to get cake.
Ooh. Red velvet?
We go figure it out. It must have red velvet. It's not
love-
cake
I
if
love-
red velvet
I
is not
love
there,
red
right?
velvet, yeah.
But so Saturday is the birthday party, and what we want to do is, back in those days when you got invited to a birthday party,
Yeah.
and you got cheese puffs and sandwiches, and you stuff your
Yeah,
face
yeah.
and stuff, right?
What is the other one? Pastries.
Pastries and stuff,
mhm.
right? So Saturday is our birthday party. It's a fun celebration. Come on in bright colors,
Yeah.
whatever. It's not an all-inclusive, it's a food-inclusive because,
Right.
I'm a foodie and we must always eat. On Monday, it is the finale. It's Shush Crystal because
Right.
Crystal is the representation of 15 years.
Okay.
And the meaning behind it is, they say when you're in 15 years of relationship, we're supposed to see each other clearly.
Right.
Through the crystal.
Ooh.
I should know you, you should know me
Oh.
by now. So I'm saying it's 15 years. Hopefully by now I know my patrons and you know me, right?
Might have some dirty crystals somewhere.
Crystals ain't supposed to get dirty. So it's an all white event.
Yeah.
And I chose all white too because I know people sometimes, oh God, we gotta wear white again, but there's nothing as unified as
Yeah.
when we, And it's a full all-inclusive, and it's going to be an experience. I promise. Lobster coming, right? But anyway.
I'm
but
already,
this year,
my mouth is already
this year
water.
we are heading to St. Lucia first in July
St.
for
Lucia.
Carnival.
Right.
We're at the Sandals Golf Course, and
Nice.
then we're heading to Grenada Carnival. We're at the Grenada Yacht Club. We're using the parking lot, the whole space.
Yeah.
I get cussed because it's like, you're not in Trinidad, but next year, please God, we will be looking at heading to Trinidad
Okay.
for the carnival. We just have to figure out the timing and stuff like that.
Any plans for any other islands yet?
I can't say. I guess I would see how
It goes
the
first.
St. Lucia and and thing goes. And then too, I think it's very important. Like, let's be clear. Like, I'm not trying to bamboozle into anybody's island. Like
Right.
in St. Lucia, I work with a solution friend of mine, Golden Fox. She has her own promotion there. So I didn't just go barging into
Yeah.
St. Lucia. And I love St. Lucia. We honeymooned in St. Lucia. So I really
Yeah.
like St. Lucia as well. But I don't know. I feel like if you're going in certain places, you should work with somebody, right?
Right.
Because, that you're kind of going into their thing, right?
Right.
And you should involve the locals. That is another thing too. You have to involve the locals. And I'm not talking about DJs alone, vendors and stuff like that. So I'm working with Golden Fox in St. Lucia. And in Grenada, it's a little different because, I kind of have Grenadian too. My husband Grenadian. And we have a whole, half
Yeah.
of our friends and family is Grenadian. My stepdaughter's mom lives there. And, she's like my ground person there. And I guess because we work with the Grenadian culture up here, it's already kind of blended.
Right.
Right? So the tickets are on sale, and it's crazy because I didn't really intend to put the tickets on sale because that's quite 5 months
Yeah.
ago. But believe it or not, tickets started to sell, and I was like, okay, whoa. Which got me a little nervous, right? Because I'm like, okay, wait, they bought a ticket already. Wait, hold up. So now I'm like, okay, now I have to really get
Yeah.
it together. So I'm going to venture to Trinidad next year.
Okay, nice.
Because I used to be like, oh, Trinidad is so oversaturated,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And then, like, I attended 2 high schools in Trinidad, right? And I'm in a group chat with 2 of these different high schools. Each group chat has 40 members, right? Because we were able to get all
Yeah.
the schoolmates and stuff. And they keep saying, Natalie, you're not doing anything in Trinidad? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. The market is saturated. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
It's 40 of us in one chat, 40
Yeah.
else in another chat.
Yeah.
These people who I went to school with work in banks, they
Yeah.
work here. They're like, listen, we selling tickets, we bringing our friends, we don't care. We supporting you. And I thought about it, I'm like, listen, I keep thinking it's oversaturated. Who do I know? Of course I know people. Do I have people I would support? People who don't get the opportunity to support me over here, but they're watching what I do
Yeah.
in here. I'm like, I gotta go to Trinidad. So
2025 Trinidad.
2025.
Shush.
I just have to figure out where. I'm not trying to go anywhere and be crazy. I'm not asking for 3,000. I just want to do intimate and share my brand and, just kind of spread the brand and give it a little life. So as far as the islands, if I meet somebody and, if I meet somebody from Jamaica who says, hey, let's try, I'm willing to try.
Okay.
If it's different islands.
All right. So
I'm not just running
anybody
up
out
to the
there
people
listening,
island.
yep. Check in.
Like,
Slide in the DMs and
like
say,
I can
hey.
see if somebody approaches me Barbados, I'll try. If somebody approaches Jamaica, I'll try. Maybe Vinci. I don't really know the Vinci market.
Right.
I'm just thinking off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm open.
All right, nice.
I'm
So,
open.
any last thoughts before?
No, I'm just I'm looking forward to 2024.
Year 15.
Year 15. We have Nadia's show coming up too, and it is going to be.
So we have Shush, the
So we
birthday
have Shush,
party.
the birthday, and the Crystal. That's Memorial.
Shush Crystal.
Nadia Art Form is June 30th. We have Labor Day Monday.
What is Labor Day Monday?
It's Chic for the
Chic.
Love of Carnival.
Okay,
So we did that last year for
Yeah, I
the first
remember
time, and
that.
it was
Mhm.
actually really, really good. So we're doing it again this year. And then we have St. Lucia and Grenada. So just that alone has me very occupied.
so
I
you have
don't think I could add.
Anything?
I don't think. I'm not sure. Let's see.
Let's see.
I'll check you guys back a couple months
Yeah,
from now.
and let me know how
We'll
it's
talk.
going. Yeah.
We'll talk maybe leading up to Memorial, and it might be a different interview. But hey, we'll see.
All right. So thank you as
You're welcome.
usual. The conversations is always
I
amazing.
know. Controversial. I'll get some calls after. It's okay. It's okay.
So
It's okay.
thank you.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
welcome.
And see you next time. Good luck with
Okay.
everything.
Thank you very much.
I think I may be in Grenada. I haven't bought a ticket as yet, so I can't promise. But
Neither have I, but we'll be there. We'll be there.
If I'm there, you're definitely going to see me.
All right.
All right, guys, there you
Thank
have
you.
it. You heard it first. You heard it here. GMGT, good music, good times, where the culture lives. You know this lady. She goes by one name. And like I tell you, when you go by one name, you know you've made it. Beyonce, Madonna, Prince, one name, right? You don't even got to put the last name. When they say Natalie, you just know who it is. All right? So, guys, thank you. Appreciate y'all. Don't forget to check us out for more interviews, more culture, more vibes, more energy, more everything right here on Good Music, Good Times.
The Reset Talk Show cordially invites you to the 3rd Annual Reset Awards. Join us on Saturday, June 8th, 2024 for an unforgettable evening filled with glamour, recognition, and celebration. Start the night in style as you walk the red carpet at 26 Bridge Street in Dumbo, Brooklyn from 6 to 6:45 p.m. Mix and mingle during our cocktail hour from 6:45 to 7:45 p.m. Then prepare to be dazzled as we kick off the Reset